The gilded deception. The scent of jasmine and vanilla hung in the air of the sprawling Manhattan penthouse as Olivia Blackwood gently ran her hand over her 7-month pregnant belly. Standing before the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park, she felt strangely detached from the luxury that surrounded her. The carefully curated art pieces, the sleek designer furniture, the immaculate marble countertops. Everything in her life had been meticulously chosen to project an image of perfection. At 34, Olivia had built her reputation as a brilliant cybersecurity expert before meeting Julian Blackwood, the charismatic founder and CEO of Horizon Technologies. Their whirlwind romance had been the talk of New York's elite circles, the brilliant security specialist and the visionary tech entrepreneur. Their wedding at the Plaza 2 years ago had graced the covers of society magazines. Now they were expecting a daughter, already named Eleanor after Julian's grandmother. The first hint that something wasn't right came in the form of a text message notification that flashed across Julian's smartwatch during dinner 3 weeks ago. He had dismissed it quickly, but not before Olivia caught a glimpse of the sender's name, Vanessa. His marketing director, Vanessa Reeves, ambitious, stunning, and 15 years younger than Julian's 42. Late night at the office again? Olivia asked, setting down a cup of peppermint tea as Julian packed his briefcase that Thursday morning. The Singapore investors are demanding another conference call, Julian replied without meeting her eyes. Don't wait up, love. This could go until midnight. His cologne was different today, woodier, more intense. She noticed he had packed his favorite blue tie, the one he considered his lucky charm for important meetings. Odd choices for a routine investor call. I hope Eleanor behaves for you today, he said, brushing a perfunctory kiss against her cheek. Remember Dr. Patterson said to rest more? We'll be fine, Olivia replied, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. The moment the elevator doors closed behind him, Olivia's demeanor transformed. The docile, slightly tired, expectant mother vanished, replaced by the razor-sharp intelligence that had once made her the youngest. Security chief at the National Cybersecurity Alliance. She opened her laptop and activated a program she had developed herself, an elegant piece of software that could sync with any device connected to their home network. Julian, for all his tech savvy, had never considered that his own wife might be monitoring his communications. His hubris had created a blind spot, and Olivia was about to exploit it. The program revealed what she had suspected. There was no Singapore investor call. Instead, Julian had booked a private dining room at Le Ciel, an exclusive French restaurant known for its discretion and romantic atmosphere. The reservation was for 2, under the name J. Blake, the transparent alias he used when he didn't want to be recognized. Olivia's hands trembled slightly as she continued digging. Calendar entries deleted from his work schedule but still cached in the system. Late-night texts that had been encrypted but left metadata footprints. Hotel reservations in Chicago during a week when Julian had supposedly been at a tech conference in Seattle. Oh, Julian, she whispered to the empty penthouse. You should have remembered what I do for a living. She picked up her secure phone and dialed a number she hadn't called in nearly 3 years. Marcus? It's Olivia. Her voice was steady, determined. I need your services. Discreetly. Marcus Reynolds had been her colleague at the Alliance, a former intelligence officer who now ran a boutique private investigation firm. Within an hour, he was sitting across from her at her kitchen island, his expression grave as she outlined what she had discovered. I don't just want confirmation of the affair. Marcus, Olivia said, sliding a thumb drive across the counter. I want everything. Financial records, communications, patterns. Something tells me this betrayal goes beyond the bedroom. What's your endgame here, Liv? Marcus asked, concern evident in his voice. Divorce? Settlement? Olivia's hand rested protectively over her pregnant belly. Justice, she said simply. But on my terms, not his. That night, as Julian texted that the investor call was running later than expected, Olivia was reviewing the first batch of surveillance photos Marcus had sent. Julian and Vanessa entering Le Ciel, their hands touching across the table. The intimate smile they shared as they sipped champagne. Each image solidified the ice in Olivia's veins. She had given Julian everything, her trust, her love, her future. She had stepped back from her own thriving career to support his, believing they were building something meaningful together. While other women might have confronted their husbands immediately, Might have thrown things and screamed and demanded explanations. Olivia knew better. Information was power, and she was just beginning to gather hers. Julian thought he was dealing with a docile, pregnant wife too preoccupied with nursery colors and birthing plans to notice his deception. He had no idea who he was really dealing with. As she closed the laptop and prepared for bed, Olivia caught her reflection in the bedroom mirror. Behind the soft maternal glow, she recognized the determined glint in her eyes, the look she used to get before cracking a particularly difficult security system. Julian Blackwood thought he was a master of deception. But he had forgotten one crucial detail. His wife had made a career out of exposing secrets, and now she was about to uncover his most damaging ones. The silent strategist. For the next 2 weeks, Olivia Blackwood lived a double life. By day, she was the doting wife, her pregnancy a perfect shield for her increasingly quiet demeanor. "Just tired, darling," she would tell Julian when he bothered to notice her withdrawal. By night, she transformed into a meticulous investigator, piecing together the extent of her husband's betrayal. Marcus had delivered beyond expectations. The surveillance photos now filled a secure cloud drive. Julian and Vanessa leaving boutique hotels, exchanging intimate touches in the back of taxis, sharing hushed conversations in secluded restaurant corners. But it was what Marcus found in Horizon Technologies' financial records that truly stunned Olivia. "He's been siphoning development funds," Marcus explained during their clandestine meeting at a quiet cafe in Brooklyn, far from Julian's usual haunts. "Setting up shell companies, diverting investor capital. The pattern suggests he's been building a separate financial safety net for about a year." Olivia studied the documents, her cybersecurity training allowing her to spot the sophisticated trail Julian had created. "He's preparing to leave," she said quietly. "Not just me, but the company too. Once he has enough secured away, he crashes Horizon's stock value, blames market conditions, and emerges elsewhere with a new company and a new woman," Marcus finished. Classic corporate raider tactic. That evening, as she sat alone in the nursery, a whimsical space of soft greens and yellows that Julian had barely visited, Olivia felt Eleanor kick strongly against her palm. The movement strengthened her resolve. This wasn't just about a cheating husband anymore. It was about protecting her daughter's future from a man willing to destroy everyone in his path. She picked up her phone and called Diane Forrester, an investigative journalist who had once profiled Olivia for a piece on women in cybersecurity. "I have a story for you," Olivia said, "but we need to time it perfectly." The following morning, Julian announced his plans for a critical business trip to Paris. "The European expansion depends on this meeting," he explained, not quite meeting her eyes. "I'll only be gone 3 days." Olivia nodded understandingly. "The Chandler Gala is the day after you return. Should I still attend?" The annual gala was Horizon's flagship event, a lavish affair where Julian showcased new technologies to investors and industry leaders. "Absolutely," Julian said, seeming relieved by her easy acceptance. "We need to present a united front. The investors love seeing the family aspect of Horizon." "Family is everything," Olivia agreed, her smile never wavering. As soon as Julian departed for Paris, which Marcus confirmed was actually a romantic getaway to the Maldives with Vanessa, Olivia executed the next phase of her plan. She contacted Regina Walsh, Horizon's head legal counsel, and one of the few executives Olivia truly trusted. "I need 20 minutes of your time, Regina," she said. "What I'm about to show you cannot leave the room." In Regina's minimalist office overlooking Madison Avenue, Olivia laid out the evidence of Julian's financial malfeasance, the shell companies, the diverted funds, the planned corporate sabotage. "My God," Regina whispered, her normally composed face pale with shock. "This could destroy everything we've built. Thousands of jobs, hundreds of millions in investor capital." "Unless we stop it," Olivia said firmly. "I have a plan, but I need your legal expertise and your discretion." Over the next 72 hours, while Julian sent her fabricated updates from business meetings in Paris, Olivia worked tirelessly with Regina and a small, trusted team. They documented every transaction, secured the necessary legal protections, and quietly contacted key board members with enough information to concern them, but not enough to trigger panic. The most delicate part involved Horizon's chief financial officer, Thomas Whitfield. As Julian's longest-standing colleague, his loyalty was uncertain. Olivia decided to approach him directly, a calculated risk. "I know about the Cayman account, Thomas," she said calmly when they met in a private conference room. "I know Julian told you it was for tax purposes, but we both know that's not true." The color drained from Thomas's face. "I never authorized any transfers." He said it was approved by the board. "It wasn't," Olivia interrupted gently, "and I think you suspected as much. That's why you've been documenting everything, haven't you?" The relief on Thomas's face was palpable as he reached for his briefcase and withdrew a flash drive. "Everything's here. Dates, amounts, communications. I was gathering evidence, trying to figure out how deep it went before coming forward." "You've done the right thing," Olivia assured him. "Now help me save this company." The night before Julian was due to return, Olivia sat alone on their rooftop terrace, watching the city lights flicker like distant stars. Everything was in place. The board had been quietly briefed. Key investors were on standby. Diane had her exclusive ready to publish. And most importantly, Olivia had secured legal control of Julian's voting shares, a clause in their marriage contract that he had dismissed as a romantic gesture but that Regina had confirmed was legally binding. Her phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. "Target boarding flight with companion. Eat at 9 a.m. tomorrow." Olivia rested her hands on her belly, feeling Eleanor's reassuring movements. "Your father thinks he's coming home to his obedient wife and his conquerable company," she whispered to her daughter. "But he's about to learn that some cages are designed to trap the hunter, not the hunted." As dawn broke over Manhattan, casting golden light across the penthouse Julian had so proudly acquired, Olivia prepared herself for what would be the performance of her lifetime. She selected a stunning maternity gown in deep burgundy, elegant, powerful, and equipped with hidden pockets for the tools she would need. Julian had no idea that the Chandler Gala wouldn't just showcase Horizon's new technologies. It would unveil his darkest secrets to the world, orchestrated by the woman he had so gravely underestimated. The public reckoning. The grand ballroom of the Metropolitan Museum of Art glittered with New York's elite. Tech moguls, venture capitalists, celebrities, and politicians all gathered for the annual Chandler Gala. Crystal chandeliers cast prismatic light over the assembled guests as waiters circulated with champagne and canapes. At the center of it all stood Julian Blackwood, resplendent in his tuxedo, playing the role of visionary CEO to perfection. Olivia entered 40 minutes after Julian, making a calculated late arrival that ensured all eyes would turn to her. The burgundy gown accentuated her pregnant form, projecting both vulnerability and strength. A collective murmur of appreciation rippled through the crowd. "You look stunning," Julian whispered as he kissed her cheek for the benefit of watching photographers. His breath smelled of mint, hastily covering the martinis he had already consumed. "Thank you, darling," Olivia replied with a serene smile. "This evening means everything to me." If Julian detected any double meaning in her words, he showed no sign of it. His attention was already drifting to a group of potential investors, his hand sliding from the small of her back as he prepared to abandon her for more lucrative company. "Actually, Julian," she said, placing a gentle but firm hand on his arm, "I've taken the liberty of having a special presentation prepared for tonight. A surprise to showcase how much I believe in your vision." Confusion flickered across his face. "A presentation? That wasn't in the program." "The best surprises never are," Olivia replied, guiding him toward the main stage where the evening speeches would take place. From across the room, she caught Regina's eye and gave an imperceptible nod. The CFO Thomas was already positioned near the audiovisual controls, while Marcus, posing as security personnel, secured the exits. Diane Forrester, press badge prominently displayed, stood ready with her recorder. At precisely 9 o'clock, the museum's director welcomed everyone and introduced Julian as the evening's honored speaker. Applause echoed through the marbled hall as Julian took the stage, his practiced charm on full display. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he began, launching into his well-rehearsed speech about innovation and the future of technology. Olivia waited until he reached his favorite talking point, his personal commitment to integrity in business. Then she pressed a small remote concealed in her palm. The massive screens behind Julian flickered, transitioning from the Horizon logo to a split-screen display. On the left appeared financial records, the evidence of embezzlement and corporate fraud, highlighted and annotated for clarity. On the right, a series of images began to play, Julian and Vanessa entering hotel rooms, sharing intimate dinners, boarding a private jet to the Maldives. The gasps from the audience were audible. Julian froze mid-sentence, turning to see what had captured everyone's attention. When he saw the screens, his face drained of color. "What is this?" he hissed, striding toward Olivia, who had risen and now approached the stage with measured steps. "This, my love," she said, her voice amplified by the microphone she had activated, "is what integrity actually looks like." With perfect composure, Olivia addressed the stunned crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for this unconventional presentation, but as both the wife of Julian Blackwood and a significant shareholder in Horizon Technologies, I felt it was my duty to bring certain matters to light." She gestured toward the financial records displayed on the screen. "What you're seeing is evidence of systematic fraud within Horizon. Funds diverted to personal accounts, investor capital misappropriated, and planned stock manipulation that would have destroyed the company's value while enriching its CEO." Julian lunged for the microphone, but Thomas had already cut his feed. "You can't do this," Julian snarled, his carefully cultivated public persona crumbling. "You have no right—" "Actually," Regina interjected, stepping forward with a tablet displaying legal documents, "Mrs. Blackwood has every right. As per your marriage contract, Section 7, Paragraph 3, she holds proxy voting rights for your shares in the event of any breach of fiduciary duty. The board has already been briefed and has voted to support her assumption of executive control, pending a full investigation." The ballroom had descended into chaos. Investors huddled in urgent conversations, photographers frantically capturing the unfolding drama, social media notifications pinging as news of the scandal spread in real time. Julian made one last desperate attempt, his voice dropping to a threatening whisper. "You think anyone will believe you? A hormonal, pregnant woman having a breakdown? I'll destroy you." Olivia smiled then, a genuine smile that reflected not joy but liberation. "That's the difference between us, Julian. I don't need to destroy you. You've done that yourself." She turned to address the crowd again. "Horizon Technologies has always been about more than one man. It's about the brilliant minds who create our products, the loyal customers who trust our innovations, and the investors who believe in our vision. That vision remains unchanged, even as leadership must evolve." As if on cue, Diane Forrester stepped forward, recording device visible. "Mrs. Blackwood, can you confirm reports that you'll be stepping in as interim CEO while continuing to carry out your role as expectant mother?" "I can," Olivia replied, her hand resting protectively over Eleanor. "Motherhood and leadership share common values, integrity, foresight, and the courage to protect what matters. Horizon will emerge stronger from this moment of truth." Security personnel, discreetly arranged by Marcus, now flanked Julian, who stood frozen in disbelief as his carefully constructed world collapsed around him. Later that night, after the statements had been issued, after the initial board emergency meeting had adjourned, after the penthouse locks had been changed and Julian's access revoked, Olivia stood once again at the floor-to-ceiling windows. The city spread before her, a constellation of lights and possibilities. Her phone buzzed with messages from supporters, from board members, from employees relieved that the company had been saved from Julian's machinations. The news was already breaking across financial networks. Tech mogul exposed by pregnant wife in dramatic gala revelation. Olivia felt Eleanor kick vigorously, as if applauding her mother's courage. "I know, little one," she whispered, pressing her palm against her belly. "It wasn't the family story I planned to tell you someday, but it's a better one, about truth, about strength, and about the cage that turned out to be made of glass all along." 3 months later, as Olivia sat in her office at Horizon, headquarters, now redesigned to accommodate a beautiful bassinet where Eleanor could rest while her mother guided the company toward record profitability, a package arrived. Inside was a single white lily and a note in Marcus's handwriting. "From all the birds who found their wings because of you." Olivia smiled, placing the lily in a vase where sunlight caught its petals. The gilded cage had not just been opened, it had been transformed into something far more powerful. A legacy of truth that would protect her daughter and inspire countless others who had been underestimated, overlooked, or betrayed. In the end, Julian's greatest mistake wasn't the affair or even the fraud. It was forgetting that sometimes the most dangerous person is the one you've convinced yourself is harmless.